In today's video, I will show you how to install, run, and configure a new Stable Diffusion web UI called Forge. If you go to this link on GitHub, you can find more about this version. It's very similar to Automatic 11.11, but has some improvements that can be helpful. I tested this on another computer with 6 gigabytes of video RAM, and I noticed a speed boost compared to the automatic version. It's recommended to have 8 gigabytes or more of video RAM, but it also works with 6 gigabytes. To install it, you click where it says download, and then on your drive, create a new folder and give it a name. I will name the folder Forge, then save that archive. It's quite big, so it will take a while to download. On that page, it will also give you more instructions, like how to run it for the first time and how to start it. You'll find more screenshots and information to read while the archive is downloading. Once it's downloaded, you can extract the contents of that archive. As you can see, you have a few folders, including Web UI, exactly like in the Automatic 11.11 version, plus some extra .bat files to make it easier to run. You can delete the archive to save some space, and let's open the update.bat file. This will update Forge to the latest version, so you can do that from time to time to make sure you have the latest version. Press Enter to continue. Now let's open the run.bat file. This will start the Forge interface after installing all the necessary extra things that need to run. The good part of Forge is that it recognizes your video card and auto-adjusts to the best settings, so you don't have to play with all kinds of settings until you get it right. So this part takes quite a long time, so you need patience. From here, I can see it installed all it needs for the interface, and now it needs a Stable Diffusion checkpoint model to run. As you can see, it downloads the realistic vision model and shows the folder where it's placed. It stayed on 100% for quite a long time, so I decided to check to see if it's complete. I go to where all the models for Stable Diffusion are in the Web UI folder, then Models, then Stable Diffusion. And as you can see here, it says partial. Maybe I didn't wait long enough, but this is a good occasion to show you how to install your own models. So what I will do now is close that command window and delete that partially downloaded model, then go to Civet AI.com website. You can click on Models to see all the models. From the filters, you can filter them by the most downloaded in the time period you want. Select the checkpoints, and the most popular ones are SDXL and the SD version 1.5. My favorite, which has a new version recently released, is Juggernaut XL. You can see it appears here, but if not, you can go and search for it. Download the latest version, which is currently version 9 just released. Then click on the big download button, and as you can see, it's over 6 gigabytes. Now, an important thing to note, when you download checkpoints, make sure the extension is Safe Tensor. Now, put it in the Web UI folder, then Models, and look for Stable Diffusion. Click Save, and take a break again, since it will take a while depending on your internet speed. While it's downloading, each model has some recommended settings, so you can check those out. As you can see here, there's more info about the model and what settings are recommended. After it's downloaded, we can go back and run the run.bat file again to start Forge. While it's loading, you should know that this installation includes everything it needs and doesn't interfere with other installations of Stable Diffusion. If you're not happy with it, you can simply delete the entire folder. And as you can see, it started now how it should. For those who have the realistic vision model downloaded completely, you can go and test it out. But for me, since I downloaded a new model, I will go to where it says checkpoints, and here you should see all your models. I will choose Juggernaut. If you downloaded a model while Stable Diffusion was open, you can just hit the blue refresh button and then search for it in the list. Now let's try it out quickly with a prompt like a photo of a cat. Remember to look for the settings of your downloaded model for sampler, steps, and CFG scale. Samplings seem to be good, so I will just add some 30 sampling steps. For width and height, the 512 pixels is for version 1.5 models. For SDXL models, you want something like 1024 pixels. And for CFG scale, between 3 and 7. Let's hit generate and see how it works. It took almost 7 seconds on my computer. Now let's close Stable Diffusion, both the browser interface and the command window. Let's open the run.bat file with Notepad. You can use Edit with Notepad or Notepad++ if you have it installed. As you can see here, it's calling the folder WebUI, and there is calling another bat file named webuiuser.bat. So let's go to that folder and search for that file. Once you find the file, you can open it again with Notepad. Here we have the command arguments. As I told you earlier, Forge does most of the settings automatically, but if you still need some extra arguments, here's where you put them. I will put line, theme, and dark, then save and close the file. And go back to the original run and see how it works. As you can see, it's launching with that dark theme argument, and it starts with a cool dark theme. Have you noticed that after starting again, the sizes, samplers, and anything else are resetting back to default each time you start Stable Diffusion? Isn't that annoying? So let's put the settings back and make sure they stay this time. To do that, go to the Settings tab. There on the left, scroll down and look for Others. And there you have Defaults. Click on it and scroll back up. If you click on View Changes, you can see the old values and new values. Click Apply, Apply Settings, and then the Reload UI button. After reloading, all should remain with your settings. Just keep in mind, it takes everything you have in that moment in the interface, including prompts. Let's talk about extensions. If you go to the Extensions tab, you can see all the extensions that Forge comes with by default. These are like plugins that expand the Stable Diffusion capability. Click on Available, and then click on Load From. Now you can see all the extensions available. Here are 2 extensions that I use all the time. Search for SDXL and Style Selector. This will allow you to test different styles. Click on the Install button and wait for it to install. Now search for Ratio Helper. This will let you change the ratio easily. Install this one as well. Now go to the Installed tab. If you hit Check for Updates, you can see if there are updates for existing extensions. Then press Apply and Restart button. Let's see where those extensions appear. If you scroll down, you can find SDXL styles. It's enabled by default, but if it's set on base, that it doesn't do anything, so you can have it always on. Now here we have the ratio helper. You can choose a ratio that you like, and then you can adjust a slider for size, and it will keep that ratio. If you use those arrows, you can switch from portrait to landscape. You can also turn it off, and let's say you have a different ratio. You can put your pixel size in there and then select the lockpad icon. Now it will keep that ratio. It's quite helpful in my opinion. Let's select a ratio and scroll down and check the style. And we will do a test on base when it doesn't do anything. Let's add a prompt like a cute cat and hit generate. Now see where it says seed and shows -1. That is the random seed. You can set that to random anytime from the dice icon. But if you use the green arrows recycle icon, it will take the last seed, which in this case is the seed of the cat. If it will be to generate again, it will get exactly the same image. But I want to show you how the style influences the result on the same seed. Select a style, for example, Impressionist. Hit generate, and you will get a cat in an Impressionist art style. If you look under the image, you can see what it does. It adds before and after your prompt some extra words to define a style, and also it adds a negative prompt. Let's try another style, maybe the fantasy art one. Now, if you want a bigger size, you can enable Hires Fix. I will choose DAT X2 Upscaler, but you can choose others that fit better your generation. For upscale, I will upscale it 2 times, but if your Stable Diffusion crashes, you can see that in your command window, you can restart Stable Diffusion and use 1.5 upscale instead of 2. For denoise strength, I play around between 0.2 to 0.5, depending on how similar I want it to be with the original image. hit generate and wait for it to finish. Maybe this seed and style wasn't the best example for upscale, but let's try another one. I usually create a lot of versions without upscale and then use that hires fix on the version I like. I set the seed to random and generate again. Let's try another style like anime. So I generate a few times, then when I like something, I stop. I like this one, for example. Now let's activate hires fix and see how it will look if we double the size. Oh no, it's different. Why? I intentionally didn't lock the seed number to show you something. So I like the previous one, but how can I redo that version? Open the folder where your images are generated. And as you can see here, the previous image is there, but it has a number and the prompt. I will copy that seed number and we'll add it in the seed field. Now I can get that exact image upscaled. Now look at all these details in the fur, in the carpet below. It does a nice job if you play around to find a good seed. So let me show you again how I do it. I uncheck the hires fix and I set the seed to random. I generate until I like something. On the image I like, I stop and reuse the seed. Then I enable hires fix. Let's go to settings so I can show you some settings I use. For the path for saving, I prefer to have all in one folder, but you can copy and paste the path of where you want your generated images to be saved. And then for saving images, you can choose the format and the image file pattern. As you can see now, I have a number, a seed number, and a prompt. If you click on Wiki, you can find all the names there and you can configure how you want the file name to look. So I will delete what I have and reconfigure. I will put the seed there first in case I need it. Then for prompts, you have different options depending on how you want it to look. I will go with prompt words, so I will copy and paste that one as well. Now here you see it says it adds a number when it is saved. You can also replace the existing image if it has the same prompt and seed, or you can add a suffix. I will go with add suffix, and I will uncheck add number to the file name. Press apply settings and then the reload UI button. I will test the new settings really quickly with a prompt of a cat in the snow. For the style, I will go with digital art, and let's check what file name we have now. As you can see, we have the seed and the prompt, a clean file name. Let's reuse the seed and see what happens when we have exactly the same prompt and seed. As you can see, it adds a suffix number, like in this case, 1. So I think this will work for me so I don't accidentally replace the images. Let's go again to settings to see what else we have there. For saving to directory, by default, it makes a new folder with the date, but I prefer to have all in one place and clean up each day and sort it myself. If you scroll down, you can also have settings in UI. If you click on Info, you can find a list of all settings. You have settings that appear on text to image and for image to image. That means those settings will appear here in these tabs. Let's test one to see if it adds it. I will add the word tiling to the text to image. Apply settings and hit reload UI. As you can see, it added the tiling here. I will check a quick prompt without it, like some red roses, maybe in an impressionist art style. If you open this image and click on preview tiling, we can see how it's repeating. You can see that it has this line in the middle where you can see it's not repeating perfectly. Let's reuse the seed of the image and see if there is any difference with tiling activated. After generation, we check again, and surprise, it doesn't work. In the automatic 11.11 version, it works fine. So I checked the Forge page on the Issues tab and found that a user already posted this as a bug. So for now, the tiling doesn't work as it should, and let's hope they will fix it soon. You can try to update Forge in a few days. Maybe they can fix it. You can also add more things in this area at the top of the interface. If you go to Settings, then scroll down to User Interface, You can see here on the quick settings list all the items that appear on top, like the checkpoint and so on. Here you can click and add the element you need. Click on Info for more information about what elements you can add. In the left is the name, and in the right is the description. When you are done, click Apply Settings and the Reload button. Let's explore some buttons as well. With this one, you can reload generation parameters from the last generation. As you can see, it added all the prompts, seed, and settings. The next button clears the prompt, and the last button applies selected styles, but I don't have any styles saved. So let's save one. Let's say you have a prompt and negative prompt that works well for you and you use it all the time. Click on this brush icon and you have some buttons for style options. Click on the last one to copy the prompts from the interface. To make it general, leave in the prompt only the styles, not the objects, unless you need those to appear in every generation. Then give it a name. Press the Save button to save it. All the saved styles appear in this list. Let's clear the prompt first and show you how it works. I will select that style, and now I will add a prompt with a cat. After I hit generate, it will create a cat in that art style. If you look under the image, you can see how it added the actual text from the saved style after my prompt and also added the negative prompt. If you have more styles saved, you can select multiple styles from the list. Now I can show you this button that applies the selected style to the prompt. As you can see, it added that text from the style to the prompt and cleared the style from the list so you can edit the prompts more before the next generation. If you go back to styles, you can select the style from the list and edit the text how you want it and save it, or you can press the delete button and it will permanently delete that style. If we go to image, you have a new button that looks like a paper clip called Interrogate Clip. If we upload an image here, like let's say this bunny, I can interrogate that image. Basically, it's a model that can reverse the image generation process and give you a text prompt for it. Just the first time you use it, it will take some time to download. You can check that in the command window. But after that, you will see the prompt appearing. Now you can use that prompt in text to image or here on image to image to get variations of this bunny. I will hit generate and see what we get. And we got a distorted image. That happens because we had a different ratio. We generated with a square ratio, but the input image was portrait. You can change the size manually, or we can use the ratio helper extension again and click on this triangle to get the image size. Now, if we test again with the right size, it should work correctly. You can play around with denoise strength. The bigger the strength, the more different the variation will look. We can also change the style in the process, like maybe I want a 3D render look. I will choose that from the list and try again. Looks quite nice and clean. We have more buttons here. Here are some useful ones. You can send it to image so you can get more variation on that. Or you can send it to extras to get more modification on it. Here I can, for example, do an upscale of it. I will choose 2 for resize and an upscaler like the DAT. When I hit generate, I will get a bigger version of it. As you can see, I have doubled the size of the image. Let's go back to text to image and see what else we have here. There is something called FreeU Integrated. If you search that on Google, you can find more info about it on GitHub. It says it improves the quality of the image at no cost and no increase in time. If you scroll down, it has different settings depending on the model. For SDXL, it has these settings. So you just put the values for B1, B2, S1, and S2 there. I will give it a test with a cute dog to see if it offers what it says. So this is what I got now. Let's see how the results are different with the option activated. I will keep the same seed and prompt, and I will just enable FreeU. They said it will not increase the time, but on my computer, it takes longer than without it. So I'm not sure if it's because of Forge or something else. The results are definitely different, but I guess it depends on the model and what you are after. In the left is the original, and in the right, the FreeU version. It seems more clear, but also more cartoonish and more colored. So if you get a nice generation, but it has some errors, you can try FreeU to see if it can fix it for you. Let's see what else we have here. It says Control Net Integrated. If you click on that title, it lets you add multiple control net units. I found that by mistake. Enable control net. Then let's drop an image here, maybe this cute dog. I will enable pixel perfect, and then for control type, let's go with canny. We have a preprocessor, but for the model, it says none. So what do? We go online and find one. On this page, there are a lot of models for SDXL version. I will add a link in the comments later if I don't forget. One that I tested on Automatic was this Koya Control Lite XL Canny. It has a download button, and let's see in which folder we can put it so Forge can recognize it. I will go to the Web UI folder. Then in Automatic, it was in extensions, but since here it says integrated, it must be somewhere else. Look for the models folder, then for control net, and there you can save it. Now, if we go back to Forge and look for the blue refresh button, click on that to refresh all the models in the list. And as you can see now, the model is in the list. I will test it quickly with a cat prompt, and we got this wannabe dog cat. We can see next to it how the canny processed the image and what contours it got. If I don't want to be so strict, I can reduce the control weight. So now it kind of kept the composition, but got a nice cat instead. You have more models that you can play around with. Maybe you can try some for depth or open pose or IP adapter. If you have questions, you can join my free Facebook group called Pixaroma Community. We have daily AI challenges, discussions about AI, design, and crafts. I check the group daily, so that can be a place for you to connect with other users and me. Of course, on YouTube, I add new content weekly, so take the time to hit subscribe or like the video. That will help me a lot. I also have some recommendations for other YouTube channels that can assist you in your AI journey. One of them is Olivio Sarikas's channel. I hope I pronounced that right. The second one is Nerdy Rodent, which has some interesting tutorials, and another one that I enjoy is the Entrepreneur channel. Obviously, all are more popular than mine, but I am getting there step by step. I am almost meeting all the requirements for monetization. I just need a few more hours, and I want to thank all the people who helped me get this far. Until next time, have fun with AI, and see you soon with a new tutorial.